Hi, my name is Suman. Welcome to Code and Play. So, last time we actually tried to make a game from a prototype. I think I actually made a prototype last time, right? Yeah, this one. I showed you how to turn an idea into a prototype using Java and Eclipse. Today, we will talk about how to turn this prototype into a game. Okay, or you can at least try making a game through this prototype. You can also make games in Java. Don't misunderstand me, but I'm just saying that. Sorry, I'm just saying that you can make games faster in game engines. So today's concept will be, um, let's say you started with a programming language like Python or Java or C++ or maybe something else like Dart. Dart programming language is also popular nowadays. People are using Flutter, I think, to make Android apps. So it is using Dart. It's actually based on Dart language. Or you can also use Kotlin to make Android apps. So if you started with these kind of languages, now you want to like um, go into game development or learn game engines like that. So let's see how do we start making games using game engines. And the game engine that I'm going to use here in is Unity. So first of all, game engines are completely different concept from a programming language. If you started making any programs or apps using Java, Python, things like that, you will know that these programming languages are like specifically used to pass instructions, right? For example, you want to make a calculator. So if you want to make a calculator, you can pass instructions like take inputs and perform operations like addition, subtraction, or if you are using a scientific calculator, then you can use like logarithms or tan, cos, sine, these functionalities. So whenever you want to make some program or some app, you will use these programming languages to pass instructions through your program, right? But game engines are different. Game engines are not used to make apps or websites, although you can make them, but it is not used to make those. Why? Because game engines have an internal architecture that is specifically working for making games. So let me explain this to you. First of all, we see this layout in Unity. Okay, so I have this Unity. The Unity that I am using is, you can download this from unity.com. You will get this hub. This is called Unity Hub. In the Unity Hub, you can actually make new projects, or you can also add any existing project or old project into your Unity Hub, and you can start continuing from there. And if you want to learn something, for example, you want to learn how to use this game engine or make any games, 3D, 2D, orthogonal perspective, you know, the different kinds of things that you see in a games. So if you want to learn those things, you can learn from here. This is called Unity Hub. This Unity Hub is basically for executing and working with Unity. Okay, you will learn a lot of things here. You have tutorials, you have in-depth guides, explanations, and everything. You can also download any existing Unity project that you want to work. from online and you can work it here. Or if you want to join any forum community like Discord community, or if you want to just see the asset store, Unity asset store, you have everything here, right? So this Unity Hub is one platform where you can do a lot of things with Unity. Now, when you install Unity, you will get this. Okay, you will get this Unity Hub. So once you install Unity Hub, the first thing you should do is go to downloads. First thing you should do is go to installs. Okay, so this is your Unity Hub. Go to installs and say install editor. Why? Because Unity Hub is just a simple startup app. Okay, it doesn't have any engines in it. You have to download the engine, download the game engine. So we use this install editor. If you click this, you will have different types of versions, editors that are available right now. I used to use this previously. Then I also installed this. You observe this LTS. LTS basically means long-term service. Basically, it means that it is supported for few years. Okay, it was introduced in 2022. That means this is almost 3 years old, but still it is working. So maybe this LTS will work for at least 5 or 6 years. Then it will be discontinued and a new version will emerge. Right? So like this 6.0, this one is actually which is I am using right now. This is also an LTS version. This was launched this year, or I think previous year, 2024, I think November 2024, and this one is recently launched. Okay, I would recommend you download the LTS versions, either old one or new one. Go for the LTS versions. Don't go for this supported or beta tags. If you go for that, your Unity will default itself to LTS. So be prepared for this. Okay, always go for LTS versions. Install this. So once you install this, you will see the installer like this. So once you install this, you have a tab like this. Here you have Windows default, right? So if you want to add any other platform, for example, you are making a console game. Okay, you go here, you say add modules, and here you can add any other platform. For example, I want to say iOS or Android or Linux, Mac. Okay, WebGL basically is a online HTML5 platform. If you want to make games for HTML5 with built-in JavaScript concept like that, then you can use this support. So what it will do is it will turn your game directly into a web game. You don't have to write anything new. You don't have to say you don't have to learn JavaScript or any other language supports like Phaser or all these frameworks. You don't have to learn those. You just directly make your game in Unity and use this support to turn it into a web game. Okay, the same way you can also use language packs if you want to add more languages into your games, like this. Most of the time we use Android and iOS, and iOS is nowadays people are not using iOS because you also need an Apple ID for that. So Android is the most used version. So if you just want to use it, just click here and continue. Once you continue, you see we need some required 5 GB and it will download the 5 GB space. So once it downloads, you will have a tag here called Android. That means your game can now be ported into Android as well. Okay, so I would suggest you download 2 versions like this. One is old, one is new. Use one of this version for Android. Maybe the new version is better, but I can also go for the old version, doesn't matter. Add Android onto one version, and if you want to go for Android games or if you want to make Android games, go with that version. Okay, if you want to make any other type of games, then go for other version. This Unity version is not so significantly different right now. Mostly both are same, mostly same. Only a few things here and there are changing. Everything else is almost similar. So I would recommend you to at least download one or two versions. If possible, get the latest one, get the latest version, but go for LTS. Okay, don't go for this these things supported or no LTS tag. Don't go for this. Go for the LTS tag. Okay, so once you do this, what happens now? So once you do this, you can go to new project, and on top of this, here is this is why I said you can download two different versions. So you can select the version here. I want to go for the latest version, so 6.0. If you want the old version, just select the old version, and the templates regarding that old version will be downloaded automatically. Here it is. Okay, so if you want to make a 3D mobile, 2D mobile game, or MR basically means Pokemon Go, those augmented reality concepts. Yeah, AR mobile, augmented reality concepts. Those are MR and VR. VR is different. VR multiplayer is different. VR is different. VR multiplayer has web support, internet support. That means you can also connect to your online account. Okay, VR is offline support, offline VR. So these are different. AR mobile basically means augmented reality. If you have played Pokemon Go has this specific software, or you can say the specific functionality where you can use the camera to locate a Pokemon on the map, right? So AR is like that. Or if you want to make any FPS games or 2D platform games, cinematic studio samples, like have you seen this game footages, video game footages? They are made using Unity or Unreal. Unreal has more realistic graphics, and Unity has better rendering technology, so it will work faster. Okay, so if you want to make any demos or any like trailers for your games or for any series that you want to make, you can make it in Unity, or you can also try other game engines. Okay, so first you select the editor version. I selected the latest version 6.0. So once I select the 6000.0.5.0, so once I selected that, now I have two choices. I can go for 2D or 3D. 3D has again two choices: universal 3D, which is normal 3D pipeline, and high definition 3D, which is HD, 3D HD. 3D HD will will consume more RAM and more graphic cards. I don't have a graphic card and RAM in this laptop that I'm using, so I will use universal 3D if I want to use it. But for now, I'm going for universal 2D. Okay, just to make it simple, just to keep it simple, I'm going for 2D. If you want, you can also download any pre samples, like samples here. These are the old ones. These are the games that the games that you can learn from, like some demo games that you can download and you can learn from it, and then you can implement those techniques into your games. Those things are here. Okay, you can also learn some basic mechanics like these. Right, so in the 2D core, select the 2D core, give a project name, and select your location. This is your license. Unity organization, this is your license. Before doing all of this, you should have a license. What license do you need? Well, when you download the Unity, they will be redirecting you, they will be showing you a link of the license that you can get. So once you pay for the license, then you can work with Unity. If you are a student, if you don't want to pay, if you are a student, you can get a personal license. Personal license will have some limitations. You can't release your game fully. I think there are some limitations in the personal license. You can find all of these details in the Unity website. You can go there and search it. Okay, so once this is done, then this one, connect to Unity Cloud. This is like GitHub. Okay, if you want a GitHub kind of scenario, then you can use this. What it will do is, it will load your project into a cloud service like AWS or GitHub. Okay, what is the purpose? Well, the purpose is, if I want to shift my workstation from my laptop to my PC, I don't have to download everything. I just have to connect to Unity Club, go into my PC, download Unity Hub there, and log into my account. That's it. Automatically it will download all the projects into my PC if I want to change the workstation. This is for compatibility, convenience. This is not important, this is convenience. If you don't want this feature, you can just tick it off, no problem. If you want it later, for example, right now you said I don't want it, fine, leave it. You said cancel, or I mean you said create project. So once you created the project, but now you don't want this Unity Club project, whatever it is, you can go here and you can disconnect your project. I mean, you can actually disconnect from Unity Cloud from here. Right now the project is actually opened, so I can't do it, but you can disconnect from here. Or if you have disconnected, you can also reconnect from here. Okay, so if you created the project without any Unity Cloud support, you can reconnect from this option, this three buttons here. You can reconnect it. If you connected it, you can also disconnect it. Okay, for example, you made a project that you don't want to connect to Unity Cloud, you just want the project as a template, as a like prototype. Then you can just go to new project, select that 2D core or 3D core, whatever you want, give a name and everything, and then click this and you say create project. So once you click create project, it will create the entire project in your system. Now once you have created it, you can go here, and here you will say connect to Unity Cloud. Just click it and it will connect to Unity Cloud. That's it, no problem. Okay, so once you did that, then you just click on this name and this editor will open up. Now if you see here, there are so many things, you might get confused. What are these things and what is that? I don't want to overwhelm you with all these functionalities and things that Unity can do. I'm just going to simply tell you few things that you need to know. Okay, first of all, this side, this is the sample scene, main camera, global light and everything. This side is the hierarchy window. Yeah, I'm saving it, don't worry, nothing happens because this is an old laptop. It might take some time to load these kind of things, like saving, compiling, everything will take some time, so don't worry. So this side is called the hierarchy window. This is where all the objects in your game is presented, is shown. Okay, for example, I want to load a circle, so right click on this, 2D object, sprites, circle. So this is a circle in the game world, and this is a circle which you can see here. This is a circle. If you want a like square, you can go here, sprites, square, triangle, all of these things. For example, I want capsule, so click capsule. This is a capsule, so circle is there, capsule is there. Okay, for example, you want to change this view, like for example, I want to change the position of this capsule. Then what to do? You can select this capsule, and on the right side you will see this inspector. Inspector is basically the part where you can actually change these things. Okay, first of all is transform, which will change its position, rotation and scale. Scale basically is like this. Okay, this is X, this is Y, and Z we don't need because we are in 2D, but if you change this, you will see, you will observe something in 2D. To reset, go on top here, on the right side you see 3 dots, click reset and it will reset to normal defaults. How do I change the position? You can change it from here, like example, I said X, move like this, or you can also do like this. You can take this move tool on top here, click it, and you can hold this box in the middle and you can move it anywhere. Okay, fine. So you can do all of this from the inspector. So hierarchy for showing all the objects, inspector for showing the properties. Then what is this? This is called scene graph. Scene graph, or basically game scene. Okay, scene graph is the place where you design your game. And if you see on top, there are two tabs, scene and game. If you click game, you will see the game. This is the game view, and this is the scene view. The scene view can be changed. For example, I moved it here, but in the game you will see what the camera sees. Okay, you might not see anything here, but if you go to the game, you will see what camera sees. Where is the camera? The camera is here, main camera. Double click it and you will see the camera. This is the camera. It doesn't matter whether you move the camera anywhere. If you move it here, for example, in the game you will see the position changed. Okay, let's say I moved it here. In the game, position changed. So you can influence the camera however you like, or you can just reset this and you will see the game view. Now there is a problem here. When I said reset, everything turns to 0 and your objects are gone. What happened here? Well, what happened here is Unity was made for 3D, not 2D. Okay, so what happened here is it actually went backwards. Let me show you that. You see this? It's gone, appeared, gone, appeared. So what I'm doing here is I'm changing the z-axis. So what is happening? To see it properly, you should go to the scene view, and on bottom I think there is a menu here. So this one is 2D. This is by default toggled on because you selected universal 2D. If you selected 3D, then you will see this kind of view. Okay, if you selected 3D, you will see this kind of view where you have 3D scene graph, but since you selected 2D, you will see 2D view. So let me show you what is happening here. The main camera is this box. Can you see it? This is the main camera. Now when I reset, let me move it. Okay. Okay, you see this plane, right? The camera and the objects are in the same plane. Okay, the camera and the objects are in the same plane. When I want to move it backwards a little bit, you see the objects are out of the camera now. The objects are in the camera now. So this is what happens. Okay, since you are using 2D, you don't see the progression. You only see objects disappear and appear, disappear and appear. The reason because the scene graph is actually moving back and forth. The camera is moving back and forth like this. Okay, so what is the best view? The best view is -10. Now the camera is at the right position. So this is our scene graph. The scene graph is where you draw, design, and you create the game objects and everything. So this is the scene graph, this is hierarchy, this is inspector. These three are the most important things. Then at the bottom, what you see here is called asset folder or project folder, whatever you want to say. I mostly call it asset folder because we are mostly using assets. Okay, what are assets? Assets are Unity's objects. Like anything that you want to show in Unity in your game is called an asset. Whether it's a physics material, whether it's a graphic material like colors, 3D shadows, view, lights, effects, everything, or whether it is a a script or an object or an art like image, background image or something like that. Whatever you want to show, it is called asset. So everything will be in this folder and you will be using this folder, so always keep it on the view. If you want to change, you can also change from here. You can go to scenes. This is a sample scene. This is called sample scene. If you want to create more scenes, you can also create more scenes from here. That we will see some other time. Settings folder is like this. We don't need to change anything. Just go to assets and it will be fine. Okay, so the three most important things: hierarchy, scene graph, and inspector, and assets folder. Assets folder is most by default, so we don't need to change anything here, right? So this is what we do in Unity. Basically, we create objects, we put them on the world, and we go into the game and we see how it looks like. If it doesn't look nice, then we change it. Where do we change it? We go to scene graph and we change it here, right? Then what if I made the game completely, but I don't know whether the game is working properly or not? So what to do? I have to make an exe file, I have to install the game somewhere, and then I have to play it, right? This is how we traditionally make games. When you make something in Java, you just write codes, programs. C++, the same, programs. But once you want to run the game, you create something like exe file, and then you install it somewhere, and then you execute it. In Unity, we have a play mode. On top here, you have play, pause, skip. So play mode will start playing your game in the game view. Okay, let me show you that. If I click play mode here, your window, entire window will change color to show that you are right now in play mode and you can't change anything right now. Don't change anything right now. You can change here, but it won't be permanent. It is just to testing purpose. Okay, so in this game mode, you can directly play the game directly from here, just like how you play games in your PC or laptop or tablet or phone. You can do it here as well. If you are using phone, you have a simulator on top, phone simulator. Just click this and it will turn into a phone simulator. For example, I want to use Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, and I want to see it in landscape mode. So this is how it looks in landscape mode. Okay, or if you want to see it in Apple 12 or any other Apple iPad mini or any other thing like that, so you can see how your game looks like in this specific view. Or if you connect it directly with your device, like you can use a USB cable to connect your device directly to your Unity, and it will show this view directly into your phone. For that you need to, I think I remember, for that you need to install a app from App Store called Unity 5 Remote or something like that. It's an app you can search in App Store, Play Store actually. You need to download that Play Store app into your mobile or tablet, and then connect the tablet to your PC or laptop, whatever you're working on, with USB cable, and it will project this view directly into your device. Okay, you can play it there directly, you can directly test it there. So this is how it looks like. Once you finish doing it, just click stop and it will stop. Okay, you can test it here, and you can play and pause, and you can test it here in this engine. So this is why I said game engines are different. We use program languages to make these things by giving commands, but game engines are completely different concepts. They have their own architecture, they have their own kind of you can say plugins, supports, and everything. Okay, if you want to learn more about Unity, you can do that by looking into YouTube. There are a lot of tutorials. You can also go into Unity forums. You can also go into their website. There are documentations for Unity engine. You can learn all of that, right? Now, what if I want to make the game that I made previously in Unity? So let's make the game in Unity. First of all, I need to like document the steps that I made in the previous game. So first thing what I did is I set the environment like window and panel and everything. Then I added player. Then I set up the movement, player movement, and then I added a bullet class or object. You can say a bullet object, right? So then I added bullet functionalities and like fire and everything. Then I add guns, weapons. right? And then I like gave the gun to the player and made it fire through functions like abstract functions and all that. So I did all that in this order. So let's do the same thing here in Unity in this order. Okay, and let's see how fast we can make this. It took almost 1 hour, I think 1 hour 17 minutes or 18 minutes, something like that. Let's see how fast we can do this in Unity. So first thing first, we don't need this two. Just select these two and delete. Okay, don't delete these two are default. Main camera and global light 2D are default, don't delete them. And change this to game view. Yeah, right. So now this is our game view. This is our game view. Now first of all, we said to set up the environment, but this environment is already there. It's done already because we already have the environment here. I didn't add anything. This is all default. Once you create a project, it will take some time to load. This is why I loaded this first, because it will take some time to load. And once you loaded this entirely, you will have these files at the bottom. Everything is default, nothing added. Okay, now first thing first, what you should do is you should always see where you are writing the code. To do that, I go to edit, preferences, and in preferences there is this external tools. Click this external tools, and on top here you have Visual Studio. Can you see this? I'm sorry about the resolution. It is very small resolution right now because my screen itself is small. So if I see these external tools, there are the external tools editor is going for Visual Studio. If you are not interested in Visual Studio, for example, you want to use VS Code, you can browse it just like I did here. You can browse it and go for any other software like Sublime Text. I'm using it. So if you want to go for that software like VS Code or Notepad++, those kind of softwares, you have to navigate to that file and open it here. Okay, then select the application and click open. So once you click open, you will see those options here. For example, I selected Sublime Text. Once I selected this, I said Sublime Text. Now I close this, and whenever I create a whenever I create a script, it opens in Sublime Text. Okay, what if I want to go back to VS Code or Visual Studio? Just go here, same, edit, preferences, external tools, click this Visual Studio and regenerate project files, and everything is fine. That's it. Okay, so this is how you set the project scripting window. Now let's set up the player. So first thing is done. We set the environment is done. Now we add a player. So in Unity, players are basically game objects. Game objects are added here like this. Go to this hierarchy window, right click here and say 2D object. If you are working in 3D, go for 3D objects. Okay, you can see cube, sphere, capsule, cylinder, plane, quad, everything. If you are, since I am working in 2D, I am using sprites. So in sprites, I am using square. Let's use square. Simple, keep it simple. This is a square. Now this x is 0 and y is 0. So these are the center of the screen here. Okay. Now this square, I want to change it to player. Where do I do this? I said this is to show all the game objects, and this is for the properties. So in the first property, you will see at the top is name. Go here and change it to player, and that is your player. Right now you can change the position by increasing or decreasing the number like this or like this. Okay, don't touch the z-axis because I'm not using 3D. I don't want z-axis, so I can only change in 2D. Let's set the player somewhere here. Okay, Fine. So now we have the player here. We have sprite render and all this. In sprite render, you can also change the color. For example, click here and you can change the color to something like this. Maybe a little bit lighter. Okay. Now, so this is our color. So this is our player. So the player is standing here, and then I said, what? Added player, set up the player movement. Yes. So if you see in the game, the player is here, but the player can't move. So let's move him. How do we move him? To move the player, we have two ways: old way, new way. Old way is using rigid body physics. New way is using input system actions. At the bottom here it is input system. So input system is the new way of moving objects. It connects directly to your controllers. If you are using a keyboard and mouse, it links to keyboard and mouse. If you are using touchpad like a smartphone, it connects to smartphone touchpads. If you are using controllers like Xbox or PS5 controllers, it also connects to those. If you are using Nintendo or Steam Deck controllers, it also connects to those. So this input system has inbuilt compatibility with all types of controllers. This is why the new versions are using this. But for simplicity, I am going to show you the old version. You can also use any version you like. Okay, there is no limitation for using anything. You can use anything. So first of all, how to move the player using the old version? The old version requires you to use rigid body. What is rigid body? Rigid body is a physics body. In physics or in game development, we call any body that moves a rigid body because it has mass, it has gravity, it has all the properties for the body to move in a 2D plane. So we call this rigid body. So in the rigid body, RIGID, rigid body, we have two types of this: rigid body and rigid body 2D. The first one is for 3D, second one is for 2D. Since I'm using 2D, I have used the second one. Okay. So this is rigid body. In the rigid body, you have body types: dynamic, kinematic, static. Dynamic is for all the collisions. If you want to have collision detection, better to go for dynamic. All types of collisions. Okay, for example, you say gravity scale 1. Gravity scale basically means introducing gravity. So you don't have to, like in platformers, you don't have to say like the player needs to start going down, or when they jump up they start going down automatically. Let me show you this. So gravity scale 1 will make the player move automatically downwards. Let me show you that. I place the player here on top, and when I play this, let's see. This is what I'm talking about. This is a very old laptop. It takes some time to load everything. So pardon me if I take some time to explain everything, because yeah, there we go. See, once again, repeat. Okay, there we go. The gravity is working. If I change the gravity to 0, now what? If I change the gravity to 0, there is no gravity. So since there is no gravity, the object won't move fast. So as I was saying, yeah, see, the object is not moving. So as I was saying, because I'm this system is very old, the laptop I'm using is very old, I'm limited with hardware, so I will be skipping past some few things, because it takes a lot of time to load and show everything to you. Try to make this game in your own system, and you will understand what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm not saying that what I'm saying is wrong or anything. I'm just telling you that I am limited with hardware, so it takes a lot of time to load everything. That is why I'm trying to skip past a lot of things. Okay, now in the player section, I said rigid body, that's fine. I removed the gravity scale, that's fine. What about all of these things? Damping, linear damping, angular damping, all this. You can learn all of this in the tutorial section. If you want to like have a deep dive about all these things, you can learn anything from Unity website as well. They have great documentation, or you can also go into any forum section there. You can also ask any questions. They will explain you all of these things. Or there are also videos explaining all these things. Okay, so let's move past. So first of all, we have a player who has a rigid body. Now when we have a rigid body, the rigid body is there to apply physical properties. Okay, the rigid body is there to apply physical properties, but how do we move this? Well, for that I'm going to add a player script. What is this player script? This is a new script, or you can say a C# script, which will make the player or control the player from the background. Okay, this is what I said. This is the old system. If you want the new system, you can go for input systems. You have tutorials for this also. Everything is similar, but instead of writing code, you are writing everything in the input system. That's all. Nothing changes, only a few things changes. It is just for convenience, nothing new. So in the player script, click new script, player script, create an add. Right, so it creates a C# script, which is here, player script, and it also adds this script directly to the player. Here it is, script, player script. Okay, click add component and you can add this. You can also add audio to your player, like movement, audio movement, or if you want to like have a background music, you can also go to main camera. Come on. This takes time. Okay, in the main camera you have this audio listener, or if you want to add any other audio listeners, you can also go into audio and you can add any other like a reverb zone or chorus filter or any other things like this, audio source for example. If you want a background audio, then you can use this. Okay, so there are a lot of things you can do using this component, add component button. Just keep add components and you will get this. Fine, so let's move this player. What did I do? First I added a square, sprites, square, then I added rigid body 2D, then I added a player script. Two things. Now we double click this player script and let it open into the editor. Oh, this takes time. And yesterday this video was actually about to release. I was like thinking of making this video yesterday, but yesterday there was a huge update and Microsoft like does this thing where it starts updates at the wrong moment. So I already like explained half of the video and then the update came and everything stopped. So I had to postpone this thing for today. So yeah, Microsoft does have a lot of problems. See, again another one. All right, let's close this and reopen this. So there are so many problems while using Visual Studio. You might feel frustrated sometimes, but don't worry, you can also use VS Code. I don't have VS Code right now, but in this laptop I don't have VS Code, but in the other one, in the PC that I use mostly, I have VS Code there. I usually code in VS Code because it is lighter. It doesn't take too much space. It is light and it opens quickly. That's why. Okay, let's hope it opens. So here it is, player script using Unity engine. Mono behavior. What is mono behavior? Is a default behavior, default class for every Unity script. No need to change anything here. Okay, so the two things that you need to know: start is like constructor in Java or in C++ or in if you are using Python with object oriented programming, you have constructor. Constructor is the function that is used to initialize objects. Start is like constructor. Okay, whatever you want to initialize, you do it here. Update is the loop, for loop, while loop, whatever you want to call, it's the loop, game loop. So if you want to repeat a function, you should do it in update. Okay, so start is the constructor function and update is the loop. So if you want to repeat anything, you can do it in loop. And to show this, I can do it here. Let's say I want to show something in the console. If you observe, when I save this, you will see that Unity doesn't load quickly. It's Unity Hub. We don't need Unity Hub. We can close this. The Unity Hub stays here in the bottom, so it doesn't need. So when you save something in the source code, initially you will see this kind of running background and everything. So this is where it loads, it compiles the code. Okay, as soon as you save something in the VS Code or Visual Studio, it immediately compiles here. So if you have any errors, you can see it in the console. Okay, if you made any mistakes or any errors or any runtime errors, you will see it in the console section. So you just go to console and you can see it there. And this is the part where it takes a lot of time. It actually takes a lot of time because it compiles each and every line of code. So if you are writing huge programs, then it will take a lot of time. Okay, so you go to console and you will see any errors or any exceptions happening here. Okay, you can also like print any message directly into this console. How do we print that? To print the message, we do like this: debug.log. Okay, it's taking time. Okay, debug.log, this is the message. Let's say starting. Okay, and it's L capital, sorry, log L starting, and this one is debug.log updating. So we will see which one starts once and which one starts multiple times or executes multiple times. So let's save this and you will see this open. Yeah, so once it compiles, we will be able to execute this. And one more thing, when you are using game engines, always try your best to not get confused. Okay, try your best not to get confused. There are so many game engines in the market nowadays, so many of them. There are so many different ways of making games, so don't get overwhelmed or confused. If you are getting confused or overwhelmed, close that game engine, go off of your system for some time, come back later when you have a fresh mind. Okay, keep yourself focused, don't confuse or don't become overwhelmed. Keep yourself focused. That is the only thing I can say to anybody. Now in the console section, you will see it. For example, if I play it, you will see you will see two lines. Come on, yes, okay, so you will see two lines, starting and updating. If you see here, there are numbers here, 1 and some 600-700 numbers. So the reason is starting basically starts once, because I said this in the start function. If you go here, click this, you will see that start only has starting is only in the start function, and this is the constructor. This only initializes once. I told you, they only works once. Whereas the updating works multiple times. It recalls itself automatically. So this is why it's called updating. Okay. You can see this 3965 times. It called updating. Whereas starting only called once. Okay. So anything you want to initialize, do it in the start function. Anything you want to execute multiple times, do it in the update function. Don't confuse yourself. Keep it as clean as possible, and don't initialize in the update. It will create unnecessary memory leaks. There will be lot of memory if you initialize anything in the update function. Don't create something like that. Try to like make your game as optimized as possible, because if you don't know how to optimize your game, then fine, at least write your code properly. That's all I can say, because your games will be played somewhere, right? And if their system is getting flooded with unnecessary memory, then they will leave a negative review. A bad review is bad for you and for the game as well. So keep this in mind. Never make your game heavy or too messy. Don't write spaghetti code. Spaghetti code is worst code. Don't write it. As I said, this one is constructor, this one is loop. So always keep this in mind. Whatever initialization you are doing, do it in the start. Whatever execution you are doing, do it in the update. Simple. Now, first of all, in the player script, I need to move the player. To move the player, I am going to use the rigid body class. Rigid body 2D. Okay, RB. So here I said RB equal to get component. Which component I need? I need rigid body 2D component from the player. So the player has rigid body 2D component. If you remember it, I have this component here. Let me show this. Okay. Come on. This is already 1 hour. Wow. Okay, so if you click player, you will see this rigid body 2D component. So I am getting that component into my script. So I said get component. It's this, yeah, get component rigid body 2D. So once you got the component, you can move the player using this component with velocity. Velocity is basically a loop. Okay. Sorry, it's basically a vector. Vector is like you are pointing at a point, an arrow to a direction. So you said move the player in this direction, like that. So we can do that with multiple different ways, like add force. We can add force and we can move the player, or we can also say transform dot translate translate. We can also use this, or we can use velocity. Here I mean, if you're using the latest version, new version, velocity has been replaced. So yeah, velocity has been replaced. So we are going to use add force. Add force will add a specific amount of force in a specific amount of direction. How do we do that? We do it like this. Add force. Let's take a vector 2, move vector. So MVC, move vector. This move vector will move the object in a specific direction. Let's move it here. Move vector. Okay. move vector equal to new vector 2. I'm using x and y coordinates, so let's say I'm using like 2. This is speed, 2 pixels in the direction. Okay, if I want to move left, I should say -2. If I want to move right, positive, left, negative. Upwards is, I think, is positive, and downwards is negative. We will test that. We'll see that. Don't worry. So right now I'm only moving in one direction. Right? So let's save this and go back here. Wait for it to load, and then we will test it. Okay, all right, let's see. If I play this, it should move. The player should move in a specific direction. As I said, I'm limited with hardware, so it takes a lot of time to load anything. Okay, see, it is moving. I'm not pressing anything. It is moving automatically on its own. So this is what called add force. This is how you move in Unity. What if I want to move in the direction that I press the button? Let's say I press W, S, A, D, or up, down, left, right. Then what? For that, we can use input manager. You remember the key, listeners? Well, we have this input manager in Unity. It goes like this. If I said input dot get key down key code dot W. So what happens is, if you press W, okay, then move vector dot x equal to, sorry, not x, it's y equal to let's say 2f, okay, upwards. Else if input dot get key down key code dot s, then we should say move vector dot y equal to -2f, and by default I'm saying move vector dot x equal to 0. Okay, so now when I add force, it will move in that specific direction. Let's see. Okay, input systems actions, it is also used. You can also use this way as well, but I'm not going to show that right now because it will take some time to set up everything. I'm just showing you some basic things about Unity. If you are new into game engines, you can use this as the like tutorial kind of thing. In tutorials, how we show the basic things, the same way I'm showing you the basic things. This will be helping you to set up your environment and get familiar with this game engine first. Okay, you see, I'm moving up and down. But if you observe carefully, if I'm not pushing the down button, it is going down endlessly. When I press up button, it comes up after some time, and you can see it here. You can see the changing, and it went up. It just blasted up, it just shot upwards, and again it have to like reverse the speed maybe. Yeah, it is coming down now at full speed. So I guess I have to slow it down. Okay, it went up. So this is what happens. So when you are using key down, key up, this what happens. Okay, let's close this. Let's find another way. What is the another way of doing this? Key down, key up is fine, but this is not the perfect way of inputting things. What is the perfect way is, we do like this: move vector dot y equal to input dot get axis vertical. What are these? What is this? Well, input dot get axis horizontal. These two are the axis movements, x-axis and y-axis. Vertical means y-axis, horizontal means x-axis. So what these two will give is, they will give a specific value depending on the key pressed. If I press W, it will give positive upwards, and if I give S, it gives negative downwards. So in this case, you can also move the player according to your specific axis. This is the best way. Okay, let's try this. I saved this. I go here, it loads, and once it loads, then we can load the player. And this is the reason why I said always make prototypes in your language, because now you know exactly what type of code to use at what times and where to use it and why to use it and everything. You will learn more things in Unity, but it is similar to I can say it is similar to Python or Java in that case. The same way how you write programs in Python and Java, it is similar to that in Unity as well. Okay, let's see. I'm using D and A to move left and right. Since I'm using force, okay, I'm not using a actual definite thing. I'm just using a force, so I can move the object left and right very slowly. I can fine tune this, but right now this is fine. You can watch any other videos to see how to move using add force or rigid body, but right now this is fine. This is fine, right? So we are able to move the player. What next? Add bullet. All right, let's add a bullet. So the bullets are circular objects, so I'm using circle, this one. Let's make it 0 0. Yeah, first of all, let's move this side and zoom in a little bit. Okay, so with respect to the player, the bullet should be small. So let's see 0.5 and 0.5, even smaller, 0.4, 4, even smaller, 0.3, 0.3 and 0.3. Okay, so this is a bullet. Okay, this is our bullet. Right, so this object is here. Now this bullet should travel automatically when I press space. How does it go? To do that, we again have to use the same thing that I used in the player: rigid body and script. So let's add two things. Select the bullet first. Bullet is here. Add component, rigid body 2D, add component, bullet script. Okay, new script, bullet, create and add. So once this is done, bullet is ready. Now what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to do the same thing for the bullet. Get the rigid body component and add the force. Let's load this down first. Okay, fine. So here it is, the bullets, rigid body 2D, RB, and one more thing. If you observe carefully, I'm not writing anything like public or private in the prefix. The reason is, in Unity uses C sharp. In C sharp, every what do you say, class variable is private by default. So even if you don't write it, it is already private. Okay, you don't need to write it. If you write it, then fine. If you don't write it, still it is default private. Okay, so you can reuse the same names for multiple classes. It doesn't matter unless you specific public, then it will be a problem. Other than that, you can just reuse the same names. We also need a vector 2. Move vector. For this, I'm using RB equal to get component rigid body 2D and move vector equal to new vector 2 0, 0. In the update function, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a specific force in a specific direction. So I'm saying rb.add force move vector. That's correct. But the move vector dot x equal to, let's give it like 4f or 6f, little bit faster. Okay, so that's the bullet script. Now I go back in Unity, and once it loads, yeah, now it is loading, finished. Please don't mind the background noises. Okay. Now we go play. So once we click play, you will see the bullet will fly off into distance. I forgot to reset the space location of this bullet. Okay, it just went down. Yeah, I forgot to remove the gravity scale. Rigid body, gravity scale 0. Okay, and move this bullet. Let's say I move the bullet here. Okay, now I press play and we will see how the bullet moves. Okay, the bullet is moving, right? But I don't want one bullet. I want like 6 or 10 bullets. Then what? Right. So in that case, we should spawn the bullets. So what do I mean by spawn the bullets? We should create the bullets at runtime. To do that, we are using a concept called prefabs. What are prefabs? These are game objects that can be created and destroyed at runtime. What do I mean by this? I mean you can create them and destroy them whenever you want, like projectiles or animations or any other attack animations that you want to create or destroy at the runtime. Or maybe you want to like create a map where you have hundreds of monsters, you want to create and destroy them automatically, or you want to have some objects on the screen that creates and destroys automatically, or you have some kind of like things that that you want to like have multiple objects on the screen. For example, like this, I want to have multiple bullets. So instead of copying like this, and placing it here like this, understand, instead of copying and placing it here like this, I want to do it at runtime. So to do that, what we do is we create prefabs. How do we create prefabs? First of all, we do all this thing first. Okay, we tested everything now. So once the test is fine, once the object is working as intended, we drag this object into our asset folder like this. So this will convert the object into a prefab. So what happens now is, if I change anything in this prefab in the asset folder, this object will be changed automatically. So if I have multiple objects here, for example, say I made multiple bullets. Okay, I place the bullets here like this. Okay, now instead of changing each and everything, I just go to the prefab at the bottom here and I change this color. Let's say sprite renderer. I change the color to yellow, somewhat yellow, not pure yellow, somewhat yellow. Okay, now if I press enter and I go back, here it's back, just go back and you will see all but bullets turn to yellow. If I go back here, turn this to red, go back, you will see all turn to red. So this is what prefabs are. Prefabs basically means game objects that can be respawned multiple times, can be created and destroyed multiple times at runtime. You can have multiple objects of the same prefab, or you can also create them at runtime. I want to create them at runtime, so I'm not going to use all this. Okay, I'm going to create this at runtime. How do I do that? I do that from the player script. So if you remember the player script, we have the player script here. Right. So what do I do is I go here and I say like this, public. Okay, I'll explain why I'm using public. Public game object bullet prefab. This is just a name. I can also use bullet fab. It doesn't matter. Okay, just a modifier, just a name, just to tell you what it is. So game object bullet prefab. Why I used public here? Why? Because as I said, by default it is private. Public actually shows this property in the editor. Let me show you that. When I save this script and go back to editor, okay, you will see the property appearing here on top. It will take some time, of course. Okay. Fine. So here it is. Bullet prefab, none. We don't have to change anything here. We simply go to the player. Okay. Go to the player, and in the script you have this bullet prefab. Don't change it in the player script. Don't change it here in the player script. Go to the player object. Okay, here it is, the block that you need. Drag this bullet prefab into that folder. So now you have the bullet prefab in the player. So now you go back to the player and we say here, I say if input dot get key down key code dot space, when I press space, it will change. Space, it will change. So what it will do? It will create instantiate the prefab bullet comma this dot transform. So this is how you create the bullet at runtime. You instantiate it. Okay, so let's see where it will be created. Is it reloading? Yeah, see, it is taking time. So this is why I don't work with Unity. I don't make videos on Unity because it takes a lot of time to reload and everything. I always show the prototypes in Java and everything. This is the reason. It takes a lot of time. Okay, let's go to bullet and change these coordinates to 0 0, just so that it starts at the right position. Okay, so this is the prefab that I used. Now we play. So when I click play, it will load the play. It will load the gameplay. Observe what happens. Keep an eye on this hierarchy window. See what happens. When I press space, you will see the bullets, right? You can see the bullets coming out when I press space. So I can move forward or backward. I can use this anywhere I want, right? This is not the perfect way of using it, but whatever it is happening, it is happening. Now, if you see here, there is a list of bullets that are actually going on here. Where are these bullets? I can't see anything. Well, the bullets, as I said in the Java video, the bullets are actually updating in the background. Even though you can't see it on the screen, it is updating in the background. If you want to see that, go to scene view, click on this bullet clone, and you will see. Double click here and you will see it is actually, see, increasing. X and Y are actually increasing. You can't see it because it is too fast. It is going too fast. That's why. You have to see, here it is. It is actually going too fast like this. Okay. So the reason why it is happening here is because we created the prefabs, but we didn't say when to destroy it. We didn't say when to destroy or how to destroy it. This is the reason. So whenever you create something like this, always try to destroy the game objects, or else it will load your RAM too much. Okay. So as I said, you need to optimize your game as much as possible. If you don't know how to optimize your game, at least write good codes, good programs. At least try to write better programs. Okay, it will optimize itself. Don't worry. So first of all, how do we delete those? We have to first take the instance of the bullet prefab that we created. Take the instance and we say like this: destroy this object after some interval. Let's say I said after 1.5 seconds. Okay, so after 1.5 seconds, destroy it. Create it. After 1.5 seconds, destroy it. What happens now? Let's see. If I save this, again wait for the program to load. This long loading times is because I connected this project to the Unity cloud. It is updating in the cloud as I am executing this code. This is why don't use Unity cloud if you are just practicing. Okay, if you know what you're doing, then it's fine. If you don't know what you're doing, don't connect your system to the Unity cloud, because it will take a long time to load anything. I made the mistake. Don't do that. No. Click on player. So here it is. So we are in the game view. Now observe this. When I play that, see what happens now. Okay, the bullets will be the bullets are still created here. The bullets are still created here, but they won't be visible, but they won't be executing after some time. See, gone here, comes here and gone. As the player is moving backwards, it is moving that way. As you can see, it is going up to here and it is gone. As the player is moving backwards, it is like this. As the player is moving up, it is also destroyed. So it is destroyed as soon as the time reaches. So now you can shoot, you can move, you can shoot. You can also move with your arrow keys, and you can also shoot with your space, and you can try using that. Okay, so now it is actually destroying the bullets. So your system will not clutter. Your game is almost optimized. Next, this is done. What next? Adding guns. Yes. Now I told you how to use prefabs, right? I told you about the prefabs. If you want to know more about prefabs, you can also go to tutorials and you can learn that. The next concept is scriptable objects. What are these? These are game objects that hold stats. For example, a weapon, or like a sword, shield, armor, or a spell, okay, magic spell that has a specific amount of like damage, defense, heal, those kind of things. So scriptable objects are those that has stats. In this case, I'm going to create scriptable object class like this. Create scriptable object, but I'm not going to create objects right now. I'm going to show you how to create objects, but this is not the only way. This is not the only way to create scriptable objects. I'm just showing you a way. Okay, be careful in this. This might be somewhat confusing to some people, so be careful what you are seeing here. This is not the only way to create scriptable objects. This is one of the ways. I'm using Java analogy here. If you are not familiar with Java analogy, then you can watch other tutorials that show these scriptable objects, what these are and how this works. Okay, let's start with this. The scriptable objects here that I'm making here is oh sorry, I actually clicked it. Oh, come on. You see this running background, right? This running backend is nothing but the updating of the Unity Cloud. So if I add anything new here, it just updates everything in the Unity Cloud as soon as possible. This is why this process takes time. Okay, so don't use this internet. Don't use the Unity Cloud right now. Right, let's delete this. And it will also load again. Yeah, of course. Okay. On running build program. Compiling C#. Nothing to compile here. Didn't even write any code. What is there to compile? Okay, so let's create a scriptable object. Scriptable object script. So this I am going to create a weapon class. This will be the abstract class for all the weapons in my game. This is not a scriptable object. This is an abstract class. Let me show you what I'm talking about. As I said, I'm using Java analogy. What I'm talking about in Java analogy, in Java, whenever you want to create objects like these, you always create an abstract class and then use that object, use that class and create your subclasses or child classes. Okay, so what do I mean by that? I mean this is not a scriptable object. This is a let's say this is a scriptable object, but this is an abstract class. Okay, since this is an abstract class, we can't use this. We must have this values here, like we say public string, let's call it weapon name, and public float max range. Okay, these two are the stats. What is a scriptable object? In short, I said the game objects that hold stats. So these hold stats, name and weapon range. You can also write like reload time and all that, but right now I don't have time enough time to show all that. Just I'm showing you weapon name and max range. So this will be our scriptable object. Now, since it is an abstract class, it has an abstract function called public abstract void fire. In the fire, I'm going to use a player script. Player. Okay, so this function will be abstract function, right? So now we are going to create the scriptable objects. This is the Java way of creating classes, or Java way of creating objects. So I'm using this in Unity. It works, but this is not the only way. Okay, as I said, this is not the only way of making games. You have many ways of making games. I am well versed in Java, so I'm using this analogy. You can use other analogies as well. You can also use in different ways also. For example, you are into C++. In C++, we do most of the things in subclasses. We don't do abstract functions, virtual functions and all that. In C++, abstract functions are called virtual functions. You can use that virtual function, or you can also directly write the code directly in the class itself. But I like this way, so I'm using this. Now let's make a scriptable object, but I'm going to use scriptable object is there, but I'm going to use weapon as the base class instead of scriptable object. So what I'm going to say is rifle weapon, or weapon underscore rifle, whatever you want. So this is the rifle weapon. If I open this up in my editor, okay, so if I open this up, you can see menu name, create asset menu, file name, menu name. This line is the main thing what we are working here. So what is this line? This line will create a menu. If you see here, I have been creating these things by using right click, right? When I right click here, you can see all of these things. So this is called asset menu. Okay, asset menu or right click menu or pop-up menu, whatever you want to. So asset menu is not having any scriptable object code anywhere in this. These are objects here, rifle weapon, right? So if you want to create objects in your game that holds stats, you use scriptable objects. This is what I mean. So let me show you that. So instead of using scriptable objects, I'm gonna say weapons. So the menu name is weapons. Inside that menu, we have rifle weapon. Okay, and this one is a weapon class. Since it's a weapon class, it is inheriting the functions. So what functions are we inheriting here? Let's see. Implement abstract class functions. So when I click this, you have this override function here. Let's override this. What I'm going to override here is when I fire it, what happens when I fire it? I should spawn these objects, right? I should spawn these objects. So I will write that here. Done. bullet prefab. Where is this bullet prefab coming from? It is coming from player dot bullet prefab, and this is not this is player dot transform. So we create this object when we click fire, and when we do fire, when do we do fire? We do it in the script here. I'm going to add a public weapon, primary. Okay, so we'll add the primary weapon there, and if weapon sorry, not weapon, primary not equal to null, if primary is not empty, then we will say primary dot fire. So we simply call the code. That's it. So if it is not null, then call the fire. Simple. So once it works, it will execute the fire object. So what is fire doing here? It is creating the bullet prefab. What is bullet prefab doing? It is traveling, and then after some time it is destroying. So this is how you create scriptable objects. Can we do the same thing in another weapon, like a shotgun or a pistol, or maybe another weapon like flamethrower? Yeah, we can do all of this. The same thing. Okay. So we wrote the code, but we need a weapon first. We need a weapon to show in the game. Where is the weapon? Let me show you that. This feels confusing for some people. I know it feels confusing, but you have to follow this in this step, in this way. So just follow me what I'm doing. Okay. So what did I do? I first of all wrote an abstract class called weapon, and I also gave a function in the weapon called fire. Then what did I do? I wrote an object, scriptable object, which is the rifle, and I will also write another object called another scriptable object called gun. Okay. Yeah, it is working. Okay. I also called another object called gun. So once I wrote this scriptable objects, then what? I will create an asset. What asset did I create? I will create rifle asset and gun asset, or pistol asset, pistol. So when I create these two assets, these two assets will have stats. What stats do they have? They have max range and name for now. You can also add ammo, you can also add reload timer, etc, etc. Okay, so you can add all these things because they are scriptable objects. So once you added them, you can drag these objects, drag these assets into player to use. Simple. So this is how we use the scriptable objects. So first you write an abstract class, means I wrote an abstract class. You can also directly start with this. There is no problem in that. I wrote this because I want to use it in the Java way. Okay, how we use in Java way is this. So we make a weapon class and we call the abstract function from the class. So if you want to write in rifle, pistol directly, you can also directly do that. It's no problem. So once you wrote the script, then you create an asset, then you drag the asset into the player. This is how you create the scriptable objects. Why do this? Why go through all of this? Why go through this much pain? Because we need these stats. These stats are the important things. We don't need anything else. We just need these stats, and we don't want to write code for everything. So we just need these stats so that the program will sort itself out based on these stats. Okay, always try to make the program as simple as possible. I told you that. So don't make it complicated. If you can do it in that way, then do it in that way. Or if you want to use scriptable objects, you can use scriptable objects. It's up to you. So once we wrote the code, I wrote the rifle weapon here. Now I create an object here, create an asset, weapons, rifle weapon. So this is an asset, rifle 1. So in the rifle 1, I'll give the name. I'm giving this as like M24 something. And the max range is basically, here I'm talking about the destroy range, what range it destroys the bullet. I'm giving it 1.2 F. Okay, so this is the max range, at how far the bullet can travel, 1.2. Now go to this rifle weapon, and instead of destroying this, we say max range. Simple. Just add max range here and it will destroy automatically. If you are using pistol, your max range is like 0.2 or 0.5, so it will destroy quickly. Whereas if you are using rifle, it goes far. Okay, you can also add LMG, SMG functionalities, like which has fast loading time, slow loading time. LMG has slow reloading time, so it takes a lot of time long time to load, like that. You can do all that things later. So this is how we write the code. Once this is done, let's see. Okay, it's done, I guess. Now I just load this. Okay, so when I press space, I can't fire. The reason is the player has no weapon here. So this is why I can't fire. Okay, so once we drag this rifle into the weapon space, now we can fire. Understood? So if there is no rifle here, let's say I said none, then we can't fire. You click, you move, but you can't fire. But once we set the weapon to rifle, now we can fire. See, you move and you fire. Okay, so you can also add another object like pistol, and you can also do the same thing, right? Now this is our rifle. Right. Now if you go to the game, you will see there is no overlay, or you called UI. Okay, to add UI, you need to add a canvas. So 2D object, no, UI, you need to add a canvas. Go to canvas. This is our UI. In the canvas, you need to say like this here, canvas scalar, constant pixels, no, screen size. What is the screen size I'm going for? I'm going for 1024 by 768. So this is the width and height of my game. So now you have the canvas UI specifically in that range. Let's add something. I want to add a text to show which weapon I'm using here. For that, I'm using TMP. This is a latest version, Text Mesh Pro actually. Text Mesh Pro is a kind of, you can say, game object that creates text using functionalities like Google Fonts or animations, or if you want to have any animation text or any kind of fading effects or translate effects, you can do all this in Text Mesh Pro. Basically a CSS text, if you know about HTML and CSS, you will know this. It's kind of a transitional text. Okay, so Text Mesh Pro is this. What I did, I right clicked UI. First I added canvas, I set the layout, then I added Text Mesh Pro. Two things. So once Text Mesh Pro is here, double click on this, and this is the Text Mesh Pro. It is very big. The reason it is very big, because your window is also very big, the screen is also very big, that's why. So first we select this, drag it to the required place where you want it. I want it here exactly. I can also change this here like this. Okay, so once it is done, you can also add some qualities like bold, italic, all this. Everything is fine right now. Everything is fine. Just change the orientation and everything. You can also change the background colors, shadow colors, and all that. Everything is fine. Nice. Now, why I need this text? I need this text here to show the weapon that I'm using. So if I'm using a different weapon, like I'm using a pistol, it will show different. So to do that, I go into the player script. What is player script here? So I go into the player script. I go here and I say public TM Pro underscore text. Sorry, TMP underscore text. Okay, this is the weapon text. Whatever weapon you are using, it will be shown here. Now, this is the game object. This is the game object. It only takes the game object reference. It is not showing the weapon name. It is just a game object reference. That means I am dragging that canvas object into the game object. That's it. To show the weapon name, we should show it here. Weapon text dot text equal to primary dot weapon name. So when I do this, it will show the weapon name that I am using. I will show you this, how it works. As I said, I don't have much time to explain everything, so I'm skimming past a lot of things. Okay, pardon me for that. As I said, game development is not easy. It takes time and dedication. So if you are dedicated to learn all these things, that are the things that I'm showing here right now, these are individual things that you should learn. Scriptable objects, prefabs, TMP texts, canvas, UI, everything is individually learned. You should learn individual objects. It takes time to learn all these things. It took me almost like 3 months to learn Unity completely. Okay, even now I don't know a lot of things like particle effects. I don't know about. I don't know how to create spell effects or animations in Unity. I'm still learning it. So it takes time. So if you don't understand anything here, don't worry. You can't understand 100% of this. This is the main concept of Unity, main concept of game engine. The game engine is not to understanding; it is to make games. So it doesn't explain you everything. You have to understand by doing it. Okay. So let's drag this TMP text here. So this reference is here. Now that the reference is here, as soon as the game loads, I said here, where is this? I said as soon as the game loads, load the weapon text. So now when I play, you will see the text here. Okay, M24. So if you want to like add some string to it, like this, okay, weapon plus primary dot weapon name, like this. Now it loads again, don't worry. Yeah, as I was saying, it takes a lot of time to learn these things, but you should have some motivation and dedication to learn this. Okay, game engines are specific. Game engines are actually an entire course on its own. So don't give up. Don't see this like, oh my god, this is too much to learn. Don't think like that. It takes time to learn. Okay. Now, once I have this, I also want to have another gun here, which is why I'm going to create another gun, scriptable object. This will be pistol weapon. Okay. Oh, is it not working here? Why is it opening a new one? Decided on its own to open a new one. Was it? How is it, man? Install weapon.cs. Is it opened? Yeah, it's open. Okay, pistol weapon. This will be in the weapons. Pistol weapon. Weapon. So now we have this pistol weapon. Abstract class. Okay. The same thing what we do in rifle. Copy and paste. It's the same thing. So everything is same. Now we save this. Pistol weapon is different. Rifle weapon is different. Okay. And we can have multiple pistols. You can also have different types of pistols. You can also have different types of rifles. Let me show you that. This one is just slow. It feels like it is getting slower as long as it is running. The longer it runs, the slower it gets. This is how it feels like. Okay, whatever. So we have learned about game engines, prefabs, scriptable objects. This is what we use most of the time in making games. So in Unity, most of the times we use prefabs to create game objects at runtime or any duplicate objects that you want to create. And scriptable objects are basically for objects that have stats. Okay, it is done. So let's create a pistol object. Pistol weapon. Pistol one. So this one will be, let's say, P25, and max range is very small. It's like 0.3 F. Okay, let's make another rifle. create weapons, rifle weapon. So I already have a rifle 1. I'm making another rifle weapon, which is rifle 2. Okay, this one will be a different one. Let's say AK-56. This one will travel fast. Will travel far, too far. So the rifle 1 can travel up to 1.2. This can travel up to 2 seconds. Okay, let's load this. I will show you how it changes distance as we change the weapons. So first we go to the player. We can change this name later on, or I can also change it now, right now. Go here. Where is that name? Player script. Take this line, Control X, and move it here in the update. It will update automatically. That's it. Okay, wait. This backend thing. Next time I will try to disconnect this from Unity Cloud. This is a very bad thing. Okay, let's increase this width a little bit. Width is 300 pixels. And X here is minus 200. 250. 300. Okay, that's fine. So this is our text. This looks nice. Now execute this. Okay, so we have 3 objects, 3 different weapons. One is pistol, one is we have rifle 1 and rifle 2 and pistol. So let's go to the player. Okay, drag the pistol, place it into the primary, and see how it it doesn't travel too far. So let's change this number to, let's say, 1 second. Okay, so listen, what I'm doing here in the play mode is temporary. You have to remember this. Don't change anything in the play mode. I'm just testing it. I'm not changing it. Okay, so now you can see it is actually shooting. Next, go to the player. This is pistol. Okay, this is pistol. Now if I drag this rifle 1, it goes even far. Or rifle 2, it goes even far, right? So pistol is a little bit small range, rifle 1 is little bit far range, right? And rifle 2 is too far, right? As you can see, everything is closed. So now this is a working example. You can move, you can also move, you can also shoot while moving like this, right? So right now this is not perfect, but whatever we are doing is just a prototype, so it is fine. We can fine tune it later. Okay, we can fine tune this later. As for now, the game is actually working. You can fine tune this with input system and more functions, like we can also add some targets, we can add some more pistols and different types of bullets and all that. We can do all that later on, but the basic system is working. So as I said in the previous episode, in the previous video, I showed you how to execute this idea into a prototype, and now I'm using this prototype and making a game. So in the game, we are using these game functionalities which we have to use, right? So as I showed you all these things, you learned a lot of things today, but remember this. These may be confusing to you, these may be hard to understand, but that's the point. Game engines are not easy to learn. It will take a lot of time to learn everything. I'm just showing you what we use, that's all. Just to give you a basic idea of what you need to learn and what you need to make your games. You can use this or you can use another things. You may not use these prefabs and scriptable objects at all. Maybe you will make the program in different way. It doesn't matter. You will learn as you make games. Okay, I'm just showing you what you're doing, that's all. I'm just giving you a basic idea. Now once you know this idea, you can build from here. Now you have the basic idea of what is what and how is done everything. This is how a game engine looks like, this is how a game looks like. So now you know what is the inner workings of the game engine, how to work with the game engine, how to execute programs, how to load scripts and everything. And if you want to build these games, you can just go to edit, project settings. Here you have player. Okay, so company name, give your company name, whatever the company name that you are working with, or if you don't have any company name, just give your name or any registered name that you want to give. Product name, your app name, version, default icons. Icons are here, and resolutions and presentation. If you want to change any resolutions like Android or Xbox or Mac or Mac OS, iOS, you can change all of these things here, right? Once you change it all this is project settings. Where do you find this? You find this in the edit. Go to edit, project settings, you change all these settings. Once you do this, then you go into edit, edit, wait, is it file? File, sorry. Go into the file. Once you changed your project settings, you go into file and you click build profiles or build and run, anything. You can use any one of this. If you say build and run, it will create an exe file in a specific folder. Let's click this. So I'm going to make a specific folder here. I'm going to make a folder called new folder. I'm saying output. Oh, sorry, it's a typo mistake. Output. So in this folder, I selected this folder. Sorry, selected the folder and I said save. So once I click save, everything will be saved into the folder and we will have a exe. You will see it in a few seconds. Okay, so this is building right now. So once you do all these things, you can directly upload this into Steam library, or you can also upload into sites like Patreon or Subscribestar, or I think there is another website called itch.io, itch.io, or you can also upload into your Play Store library or iOS App Store. You can upload directly into these websites. Understand? So if you are working on a community website like Patreon, you can directly upload your file into Patreon and you can sell your game or give it a free version. Maybe you don't like to sell games, maybe you are into microtransactions. Well, in microtransactions, you can also upload into Google ad store. You can also make a ad store account, Google Ads account, and you can run the ads directly into your game. There are Unity ads system, you have a plugin for that. Now get the plugin and you can directly integrate ads into your game. You can find all kinds of tutorials for this. Unity tutorials are the best because this has been around for like how many, 6 or 7 years. I think Unity has been around for 7 years, I guess. I don't know much about this. I have been learning game development from 2018 or 17 like this. So I have seen Unity for a long time. And there are so many people who started making games in Unity, who are learning Unity. They are making a lot of tutorials, old ones, new ones. There are so many tutorials. Unity's, you can say, the community is very vast. Okay, there are forums, there are people who are learning, who are explaining. It's a huge community. If you want to get into Unity, this is the best. If you want to get into game development, Unity is the best one. Or maybe you are into Python. So if you like Python programming, then you can find community called Godot. Okay, or Godot, whatever you want to call it. JavaScript, I don't think there are any communities nowadays based on JavaScript. I've seen Phaser, a game engine called Phaser that is built in JavaScript, but I don't think the community is too vast for that. It's better to like work with Unity and post into WebGL. That is the best approach right now. Most of the developers are using that. Most of the developers are making games in Unity and port into WebGL. I showed you how to install WebGL in the starting of the video. You can go back and you can see it. Okay. So it will take some time. I hope it ends quickly. You can then the next process is up to you. What you do next from here. I showed you the prototype in Java. I showed you how to make it in Unity. Now it is up to you. Make your games and publish it. Oh, okay, one more thing. When you are making games, as I said, try to avoid spaghetti code. Okay. Sorry. I have been talking for a long time, so try to avoid spaghetti code. If you don't know what you're doing, then it's best to not write that code. Go into forums, watch what people are doing, what people are writing, and you can use that as a reference. There are a lot of channels. I think there are a channel called Code Monkey. I think there are also channels like I've seen a lot of channels. I don't know which one is the best one, but I have seen a lot of them. I actually learned Unity in this way. I made games. I actually started with Game Maker. If you know about that engine as well, Game Maker engine. Game Maker is much more easier. But the problem with Game Maker engine is it doesn't have Android and web support. Back then it didn't have Android and web support. It only made games for PC. So in 2017 and 18, it was making games only for PC. We can't make games for Android and web. So I switched to Unity and most of it is similar. I had to learn new things, like I told you this, prefabs and scriptable objects and all that. I had to learn that. I also made a game in 2021. If you remember it, the first video on this channel, Code and Play, was that a game demo. I made a game demo in 2021. The first video that I uploaded. And yeah, since then I have been practicing. I have been writing programs. I have been making games a lot. But most of the time, whenever I make videos like this, I always make in Java because it takes a lot of time to write games in Unity. As you can see, I am limited with software. I'm limited with hardware, and it takes a lot of time to load these things. So I generally avoid these kind of things. So my purpose is to teach you the basics on how to start making your games. Start making your games, start following your dreams. um, yeah, there are like things that you should learn, things that you should know. That is the main focus in this channel. It is not about teaching you the perfect way, it is just to teach you how to get started. So once you start your journey, you can build on it. So just start something, okay? And I hope this one is finished. Let's see. So once this one is finished, once this is finished loading, you will see an exe file. You can use that exe file, and you can give it to your friends as well. You can zip it and convert into a zip folder, or you can directly just copy and paste it into any other pen drive or anything, and you can pass it to your friends. Okay. Let's see. All right, I guess it is done. Post process player, launching player. Okay, so now it's launching. So now the build is running. It is not the Unity, it's the build. Let's see. Let it launch. Okay. Where did it launch? Ah, okay. Now it's launching. Okay. Made with Unity, and here it is. So now we can move around and shoot. Right? I forgot to give the mechanism where we can change the weapons and everything. You can press Alt F4 to close this. Okay, I forgot to give the mechanism where we can change the weapons. Maybe I'll do that in next project. I'll show that how to change weapons in the next one. Okay, so this is fine. I guess you will learn a lot of things by practicing a lot in Unity and all that. Okay, thank you. Hope you learned something new.